again to the Sales on Demand Show. I am your host, Adam Schneider. This is episode 108. Today we're going to be talking about creating a design. This is a bit of a busy week for me, so I'm going to be recording two shows this week, and I'm guest starring, I guess. I'm going to be a guest on a different show. So that's 3 episodes I'm putting out this week. And then I'm gone for 2 weeks to do some bang training and digging trenches and playing Army for a little bit. And I'm very excited. So there might be 10 days in between some of the shows. I think you will survive, though. I will be right back to do, to get back into it. So, it's currently the wonderful month of May, my favorite month of the entire year, for a couple reasons. Number one is green grass, and also almost no bugs. So that's 2 great things. And it's not too hot here in Alberta, but we are getting kind of a mix of rain and snow. So once in a while, you wake up and you look outside and there's a bunch of snow covering the green grass, but it usually melts pretty quick. Of course, we're still under restrictions, and I've had a lot of people message me and talk to me about what's going on. They're very upset. We had one of our Alberta pastors here was arrested. They pulled him over on a major busy roadway in Calgary, pulled him out of his vehicle. I literally pulled him out, arrested him, and dragged him to jail. All because he was trying to have church. He's a small church of like 30 people, and they're just really upset about that. So that's happening. And I've had a lot of people message me and say, what am I going to do? What can I do about this? They're frustrated because they want to fight back, and I totally understand that. And I'm going to tell you that there is one way to fight back against this that I'm going to give you right now. That is to carve your success out of the rock of fear and failure. Start talking to local people who value freedom, and start creating freedom, right where you live. If your local government is trying to do something, put in some kind of mandate that is unlawful, illegal, or violates the charter, violates the Bill of Rights, fight against that. You can have a lot more success in a local area than you can on a countrywide scale. Also, I've been donating to the Legal Defense Fund for these people who have been getting tickets and being arrested for that. So that's what I recommend. Start donating to these people's legal defense, and we'll just continue doing what we do. All right, so if you want to start your e-commerce journey, you want to start making money like I do, online selling physical products, print on demand, join my Bootcamp. This is Bootcamp number 3, but you can start at the beginning by going to salesondemandshow.com/start. Join up on the email list, and you will receive all of the first 2 Bootcamp videos by email, as well as the next 3 going forward, including today. All right, so I usually tell people how my sales are going, and today will be the same. So far to date, in 2021, I have $12,500 in sales on Amazon, and about $7,000 on Etsy, which is less than last year. But again, last year was just an anomaly, just an insane anomaly. There was nothing like it, probably never will be anything like it. Sales were through the moon last year, and then they kind of died out a little bit for the rest of the year. It was just unpredictable. This year, I think we're continuing to see a stabilization of sales. It's going up a little bit. People are still buying Mother's Day items, even though Mother's Day was, right now, it's Tuesday, so that was a few days ago by my calculations. So, people are obviously, have forgotten about Mother's Day and are going back and buying something for their mom, which is fine. I think that's okay. I'm happy to make those sales, and I'll take all of them. Father's Day is coming up. June, I think, 20th or 22nd, something like that. So it's, not really close, but it's also coming up really fast. And at this point, I'm focused on printing as many FBA products and sending it to Amazon as I can. I'm hoping to get around 5 or 6 boxes out the door this week. That's all I've got for blank mugs is about 5 or 6 boxes. So might as well put them all in Amazon, get them selling, because I think FBA is going to be huge for Father's Day. Crypto. What's going on in crypto? Well, the market's trading kind of sideways. I told people before I trade crypto on an app called Crypto Hopper. It's basically an automated bot that just simply buys and sells based on market signals. It's all very complex, and I don't really know how it works, but it's made me $1,000 over the last 6 weeks. So that's pretty good. So you can see that. I've got a referral link in the show notes if you want to look into it. All right, so let's recap the last few Bootcamp lessons I taught you. How to open up an Etsy store. Basically, you just click the link. You go to salesondemandshow.com/Etsy. Open up your Etsy store. And last week, we talked about how to find the phrases. That is, in fact, the most important part of basically selling print on demand, because people are not buying your product because it's a mug. They're not buying a mug from you. They're not buying a t-shirt or a tote bag or a pillowcase. If they wanted to buy a pillowcase, you can get them for like $5. Mugs are $2. T-shirts are $5. I mean, all of this stuff is very cheap. People are buying an experience from you. And I know that's kind of a cliche way of putting it, but it's the truth. They are buying joy and happiness from you to give to somebody else, or they're buying a piece of their identity that they want to display on a t-shirt or a tote bag. It's all about emotions, really. Print on demand is really, it taps into people's emotions more than almost any other physical product business that I've ever seen. People will go on Amazon and they'll buy all kinds of products based on an actual need. Especially groceries and electronics, computer parts. There's lots of that stuff on Amazon. Very little of it is based on emotions. People need computers, they need cell phones, they need electronics, all kinds of things. But print-on-demand products are purely emotional. So you're tapping into people's emotional desires. And because of that, some of the things that would apply to other products, grocery shopping type products, the needs that people have, don't apply to print-on-demand products. So in particular, people who buy print-on-demand are not really as influenced by price as you might expect. If you're shopping for cereal, or what's a good example? Milk, I guess. Some people will look around to try to find the best price on eggs or butter or something like that. I always look for the cheapest butter because I don't know if there's any real difference between butter. Eggs are a little different. I like to get the free run eggs, so I usually look for the highest quality for eggs. But that is also kind of an emotional thing because I guess I'm just happier eating those eggs. But if they were really expensive, I wouldn't buy them. Print-on-demand products, on the other hand, I have people paying $25, $27 for a single white coffee mug simply because that product has the name of somebody that they love on it, or the name of several people, and it's a keepsake that'll last pretty much forever as long as you don't smash it. In the case of travel mugs, those will last, literally forever. They're very sturdy. You can ship them without any real sturdy packaging. That's how indestructible they are. So these are emotional things that people are buying, and so when you find your concepts, you need to focus on finding things that people love, not just on, finding phrases that are just okay, but you got to really dig deep into the culture to find these things. And we talked about that, of course, in the second Jumpstart session. But now we're going to talk about actually putting those concepts into reality by creating designs. What programs do I use to create designs? What's the best way to do it? So on and so forth. So let's get this going here. So there's a few different things to consider here. And I know that many of you out there are probably scared by this because you think to yourself that I'm not a graphic designer and I don't really know how to create these fancy looking designs that you think people want to buy. Now I'm going to tell you this right now. People are buying the phrase, not necessarily the design. A nice looking design is important, but nice is a relative term. It doesn't mean fancy. Fancy does not equal higher sales. Depending on the product that you're selling, fancy might convert better, but people really ultimately are buying the phrase, the idea, the concept, and less so the design around the concept. So this means that you really don't have to go very hard on creating elaborate designs to make sales. And that's good because for me, I can tell you right now, I am not a talented graphic designer in any way, shape, or form. I'm just not. Most of my designs are very simple, like really stupidly simple. Some may call them ugly in a way, but ugly is in the eye of the beholder. So it's just the way that things work here, right? People are looking for something that is funny, clever, not necessarily pretty. Although the way that you present it on Etsy can make things a little bit nicer for people. So there's a lot of ways to go about this. Let's talk about 3 different types of designs that you can create and the tools that you can use to create them. So simple designs. This is where you should start. And this is where most people will create most of their designs, particularly for t-shirts, mugs, and other, simple products like tote bags and candles and stuff like that. Simple designs really are the easiest and best to create. So when you're going simple, you're using 1, maybe 2 fonts and 1 phrase. No graphical elements on it, no clip art, no fancy, script-looking fonts. You're just putting the phrase into a way that looks nice when it's placed on the product. Really easy to do. There's a couple of tools that I recommend for this. You can get one for free called Inkscape. Inkscape is a downloadable program. It is free. It kind of looks like Photoshop, but it's different. There are some things that you can do with Inkscape that you can't do with other programs. Inkscape can use and edit SVG files. So if you do have clip art that is in SVG format or EPS format, and if you don't know what either one of those are, don't worry about it. You don't need to know. But it can edit those 2 formats, which is handy. Sometimes when you're downloading clip art, if you buy it, it'll come in SVG format, and you'll need to turn it into PNG. So simple, 1 or 2 fonts, 1 phrase, very fast to do, and you're just basically going to take the phrase and just make it look readable and as large as you can with as high a resolution as you can. For mugs and t-shirts, I recommend 3600 pixels times 4200 pixels. You could even go higher than that, but your design will take up more space, so you might have to have a larger hard drive for that. And the beauty of that is that you can create a large number of designs in a short period of time, launch them really quickly, and you can even hire people to do this for you. It is very simple to train a virtual assistant how to create these simple templates and to simply use them to create more designs. So this is one way to create thousands of designs, thousands of products, post it on Amazon, and just sort of hopefully float to the top by having so many products out there that you eventually you find something that people like. PicMonkey is a good one for this, and Canva is also good because you can create and save templates in an online. PicMonkey calls it a hub. I don't know what it's called on Canva. If you want to subscribe to those services, it does cost about $7 a month, so you got to pay for that. But I do use PicMonkey for my designs, yeah, even the simple ones, because it's fast and it does save everything. So if something happens and you need to find that template again, you can save it there. I have templates on PicMonkey that are 4 years old now. So if I want to go back and create more designs with those templates, they're just right there. Very easy to do. All right, so intermediate. These ones are more elaborate, of course, more creative, more unique. But again, you don't need Photoshop necessarily for these. You can do it with PicMonkey or Canva. So these are designs that might take you a little bit longer to create. And they're good for, again, templates, where you create one template and then you will replace one or two words or one or two elements on the template to apply it to other niches. So let's say you've got something for engineers and you've created this template for an engineer, a gift for engineers, I should say, and then you want to apply it to carpenters or electricians. You can easily just replace one or two elements of the template without redoing the entire thing, and all of the work that you did to create the template can then just be duplicated over and over and over again. You can create hundreds of designs with templates, even if it took you quite a while to create the template initially. So this is great, and this is basically where I'm doing most of my creation these days, is with these intermediate type templates where it takes a little bit of time to sort of create it. You might have some clip art, you might have some, lines and boxes or little just elements on the template, but it's very easy to do with PicMonkey or Canva. And if you really want to go and find clip art, you can subscribe to a site like Creative Fabrica. There's lots of these little sites that sell clip art or even paintings and stuff like that. You can use those to create these intermediate style designs. But again, don't just start throwing clip art or pictures on your product just because you think it makes it look nicer. Whenever you're using a graphical element on a product, that is like a picture or an image or something like that, it really has to relate to that phrase in a way that it makes sense. So I've seen a lot of people do this. They're like, oh, I want to put hearts and I want to put little doodads or whatever on their product just because they want it to look more creative and unique. That's not necessary. The more of this that you have on your design, the more busy it looks. So I've seen a lot of people overdo the graphical elements in their design, and it's just not effective. And if you do it poorly, if you're just going and finding Google images and basically stealing those, and yes, that is basically stealing. They don't belong to you. You need to pay for the pictures that you use in your products. You end up with bad-looking designs, and they look uglier than if you just used plain text. So this can easily be done poorly, and it takes a lot of time to sort of develop a methodology and a little bit of... You don't need a lot of skill, but you do need to have a little bit of skill to do this. These are ones that you can also pay someone to do. You're going to have to pay more for these kinds of designs because they are more elaborate, they take more time to do, they're more finicky, and the skill level that someone needs to do this is higher. So let's talk about advanced styles of designs. So this is the one that, the fabled, and you see this on Etsy, where you've got a picture of a person from the back, and you can change their hairstyle, and there's a fancy looking phrase next to it, and a dog, and you can change the breed of dog, you can change the hairstyle. Those are really, really advanced types of listings, And the people who created them spent a significant amount of time building that. Now, they are making a lot of sales from it, but the work that it takes to make that happen and the amount of money that you're probably going to have to invest in buying all the little elements of that is significant. And I actually bought some of these little clip arts because I wanted to make these customizable things where you could change the hairstyle of the person, you could change the clothing that they're wearing, the color of their skin, and so forth. It is way more complex than I really anticipated. It doesn't actually, I mean, you can see that there's lots of options, and it all has to be done manually. All of it has to be done manually, unless you have some kind of script that can move these elements onto the page. That's really advanced. Now, the same goes for all of these really highly detailed t-shirt designs that you can sometimes buy. Those are done by professionals. It takes quite a while, and it takes a decent amount of creative talent to be able to do that. You need to own a lot of fonts, you need to own a lot of clip art, you need to basically subscribe to either Photoshop or Illustrator, and you need to know how to use those programs very effectively. Most of the people who are using these fancy designs, they have either a subscription to a graphic design service, or they have a graphic designer who they specifically go and find. They pay them for these designs, and they're not cheap. It's between $10 and $20 per design, because it does take quite a while to create these. Some of them, I think it takes up to an hour, or somewhere in the neighborhood of that. And graphic designers, because they're talented, they're not working for cheap. Even the ones that are overseas, they are not working for cheap. They know how much they're worth, and they want to be paid for their skills. So this is the most difficult way to do this. The only reason that I would say that you would want to use these advanced type of designs is if you're already making lots of money with the other types of designs, and you want to build up that, you want to get a few listings that make a lot of money, and you really know what's going to sell. So everything has to be perfect with these designs, because you're spending a lot of time and money building them. So because of that, I recommend that people who have no experience selling print on demand stick with the simple and the intermediate. Start with the simple, 1 or 2 fonts with 1 phrase. You might have to create quite a few of these designs in order to generate sales, but they're fast and easy to do. So overall, you're not, spending really a lot of money, or you're not spending any money to do this, and you can quickly build up a few sales, test out some phrases, and then when you find some phrases that do well, you can take those phrases and make a little bit more elaborate designs, send them for Amazon FBA, and that's basically how I've been building my business. So let's talk about the what works best on different types of products, because people want to know that as well. Creativity does help, but you don't have to be talented, and I'm not talented again. So when I'm creating my designs, I stick with the simple and the intermediate, and I work mostly with mugs. That's kind of my bread and butter. It's where I make almost all of my sales, all of my money from. They're very easy to do with simple things. So simple is the best and easiest for coffee mugs. And people love customization on coffee mugs. It's one of my best-selling kind of things is customization. So for Mother's Day, you can customize products with mom's name, or you can have the kids' names underneath with some clip art or something like that. There's lots and lots of examples on Etsy. Just go and have a look and see what people are doing on Etsy. Then you can buy some clip art and do your own customization. Really, really simple, fairly easy to get into, and very effective as well. T-shirts, simple is also the easiest, and it seems to be the best selling. The most common color of t-shirt seems to be black and gray. The best selling kind of t-shirt seems to be women's t-shirts and unisex men's t-shirt. Well, shouldn't call them men's t-shirts, but they are basically sized for men, and women can fit them as well. They're called unisex, but really they fit better on men, I think. So it's easier to create designs that are simple. Basically, you're going to create your design with white, and it'll look good on a black background, which is the t-shirt, or a dark background if it's gray or dark purple or something like that. So those are the best-selling types of designs on Etsy, and really they're basically simple designs with one or two fonts. Usually the font is some kind of script font, so you're going to see that quite a bit, where it looks all flowery looking, but you can find those fonts anywhere. If you subscribe to PicMonkey or Canva, they basically give you a lot of those fonts as free to use inside the program. So you don't have to go and buy the fonts, but you can if you want to. And you can add them to the program and use them with your PicMonkey subscription. So t-shirts, simple. Now, when you're getting to stuff like necklaces, jewelry, and ornaments, you're looking at much more complexity, more colors, and customization really works well. So necklaces, of course, the small ones, Gear Bubble has these small necklaces. They sell really well with Facebook ads, and they're not very big. So you can see they're about a 1-inch, either round or heart-shaped necklace. And if you look on gearbubble.com, you'll see that there's lots of these necklaces that people are selling. And they're all pretty fancy. I mean, some of them are really fancy. And they are definitely created with Photoshop, and most of them are being sold. Some of them are on Etsy, but most of them are being sold with advertising, paid advertisements. So that's a completely different type of business, running paid ads. I've talked about that a little bit, but it's not something to get into as a beginner, at least not in my opinion. You're far better off just working with the simple designs on easy-to-sell products like mugs and t-shirts on the platforms like Etsy and Amazon. But then there's other kinds of jewelry like, and this is fairly new, but they've got the message cards, and you'll see these on Etsy and also on Gear Bubble, where they have a little box with an insert in it, and the insert has the message printed on it, and then it has a little necklace hanging down from it that's the gift right there. But the real value in the gift is the message that's printed on the card, and that's kind of where all of the value lies. So creating these message cards, it is more complex, and it relies less on the phrase and more on the mix of just all of the elements together. So it's more complex. I've done a few myself, haven't really made any sales from them, so I can't say for sure that I'm any kind of expert on it, but it's worth a try if you have a little bit of experience with design work. This usually means you're a woman or a talented graphic designer. And of course, customization is pretty big with these as well. People like their names on things, they like their kids' names, their parents' names on it. So that's something to get into, and it's a little bit more advanced. So hopefully that helps you guys. Again, if you want to see this on a video and watch me actually create some of these products in person, you can sign up for the Bootcamp, and we got 2 more of these Bootcamp sessions left. So I hope to see you guys on the next 2. Take care, and we'll see you. Cheers.